Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday. It's November the 25th, 2021. It's another Technical Alpha podcast. Glad you could join us today. If you're here live, you're listening to us on the RSS feeds on the way to work. Although that won't be at least for a few days for our U.S. listeners, as it's turkey gobble gobble weekend. Long weekend for lots of folks south of the border, and hopefully you're all enjoying that. Should you celebrate in whatever form you may, got another great show lined up for you today. Let me just get this all on over here, and this on like this. Hit the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. Leave a comment. The usual stuff. Patreon.com/Technical Alpha. And by that I mean Patreon.com/LagTV. I don't know where my brain went with Technical Alpha. Hasn't been Technical Alpha in a long time. Patreon.com/LagTV. LAGTV. Let's get that one right. It's not send them into the wrong places. Support this podcast. Before we get started, Mr. Black, how was your week?
It was another week, man. What did I do? Nothing. I didn't really do much. I've been on the grind again, so just been streaming a lot and chilling.
Nothing wrong with that. We're entering the we discussed this last week, the winter grind season. There's nothing else to do outside, and so you might as well work season.
That's it.
This is where we're headed. Right now we get our first taste this week. Just a dusting, but enough to remind you that it is technically almost December, and we are lucky to have gone this far without getting a warning shot across the bow, but we got ours this week. However, I should say this. I will take what we got versus what Cape Breton and Newfoundland have gotten absolutely massacred with. Any day of the week, we got like a light dusting of snow that I had to, aggressively scrub off the front of the car. In the morning. They got 400 feet of rain and washed out roads to the point that they're fucking bringing helicopters in to deliver shit. So I think we got out with our lives on that one, and all the best to the northern half of the province and the provinces above us that got the worst end of that. What's up with the coastlines? BC got completely cut off from the rest of the country via rain. And now Newfoundland and Cape Breton getting hit with it on this side. You just can't seem to escape it. If you're next to the ocean, you're getting some. You're catching these hands. There's nothing you can do about it. My week wasn't anything crazy either. Similar in that I was just kind of more or less working, and by that I mean I played pretty much Halo every day, almost nonstop. Since the last podcast, and enjoyed myself for the most part. You know, some of the finicky stuff we talked about last week is still there. Of course, it's not going to change overnight, but certainly been enjoying my time. And I see that you got in and played a little this week yourself. We'll talk about that a little later in the podcast. See what your thoughts on Halo Infinite's multiplayer has been. But before we get to that point, let's hop into some other video game news. First up, just get this out of the way real quick. Not a heck of a lot changed in the Activision Blizzard gong show this week. Few points, chiefly the stuff that we already expected to happen. Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox leads came out and said, "What the fuck is happening over there?" collectively. And sent out, of course, their own internal stuff to say, let's pat ourselves on the back for being less shitty than Activision, and then made their public statements to say, we're now looking into our partnerships with Activision because, holy shit, everyone wants to distance themselves from the giant dumpster fire that is currently happening over there as they sort that out. Activision Blizzard also has created, Mr. Black, their first big step. They're really putting themselves out there. Activision Blizzard has created a workplace responsibility committee. However, they created the entire committee solely based on pre-existing board members. Kind of defeats the purpose when most of your board members are the problem. However, I guess if you gotta look good on paper, this is a good way to start looking good on paper. That's up there with, like, the FBI doing an internal investigation on the FBI and finding absolutely nothing is wrong. Everything's fine. We looked into it ourselves, and we're fine. And lastly, Bobby Kotick did announce that he will consider leaving. Consider being the operative word in that sentence. No, he's not going to say he's actually going to leave. Consider leaving. Should he not be able to fix things quickly, which is very magnanimous of him given the fact that he's only been CEO of Activision Blizzard, Mr. Black, since 1991. If it was going to be fixed, shot in the dark on this one, might have happened in the last 3 decades. Maybe. I don't know. But possibly. The odds of it being turned around in 6 months after 3 decades, not very high. But Godspeed to Mr. Kotick and his freshly appointed responsibility committee as they move forward with whatever it is that they're going to try and do with that. Next up, Ubisoft wants the next Nintendo, or wants to be the next Nintendo, it seems, as they announce an entertainment center is in production to arrive in 2025 with a full theme park coming afterwards. Similar to how Nintendo's got, like, Super Nintendo World or whatever that they just put out over there, I guess, except this time it's going to be 50 Shades of Assassin's Creed. Maybe when you enter the park, they give you a map, and on the map it's 1,000 fucking markers that you have to go and find everything while you're in the park, and you can't leave until you found them all. That's a very interactive experience. I'm sure lots of people would be very happy with that. They haven't actually given up a lot of details. We don't know what exactly the entertainment center is supposed to be, nor can we really get any guesses as to what the theme park is. But that's, it's going to be Super Nintendo World, but it's probably going to be closer, or Land, but it's probably going to be closer to, let's say, my guess is going to be closer to, like, Universal, where they have, like, those, a lot of, like, what do they call it, 4D?
Yeah,
kind of
like interactive rides.
Interactive rides and stuff. I suspect that's going to be, like, the main thrust of it. At some point, you're probably going to have, like, a roller coaster that's Splinter Cell, where you just physically sit on Sam Fisher's face, rubbing as much shit into that poor man as humanly possible, as they will not put him anywhere but somewhere that isn't his own video game. But yeah, we don't have much information on that. All we know is that the center, entertainment center, whatever the fuck that is, it's 2025. And then the theme park, well, if I had to take a guess, probably 2030. You peg another 5 years on top of that to do whatever that theme park is going to be. I believe they said it's going to be in or outside of Montreal somewhere. Probably, I think they said something like a 40-minute drive or some shit outside the city. And so somewhere out there is going to be where they set up shop. Rockstar apologized about their remaster trilogy this week, as they probably should have, saying that many fixes and updates are on the way, and they as well put the original games back on the digital storefronts, because really, if they didn't, the world might have imploded on them. We already talked last week about just how absolutely broken the remaster trilogy is. Rockstar has come out and said, you know what, guys, not up to our standards. Our bad. So here, have the old games back while we desperately try and fix whatever the hell this hot mess is. And I'll be very interested in just how fixed those games get, because it seemed like an awful lot of work. Seems like they're going to be remastering the remaster, as far as I'm concerned. Because I don't think there was a hell of a lot about the remaster that people were like, yeah, this is dope. It's more like, this is all terrible. Please, burn it and start over. And so, all the best to Rockstar on that endeavor. But that is good news. They at least put it back on the storefront, all the old games. That's the most positive news out of that entire situation. People can go back to those if they so wish. Against all odds, it seems the Smash Ultimate and Smash Melee communities are possibly getting some proper treatment from Nintendo, which Nintendo has basically done their best to distance themselves from this community in their esports scene for many years. And honestly, given the weird minor grooming and shit that's been going on and all the crap that came out of it, Nintendo made a pretty good choice thus far. That wasn't a bad, they dodged several bullets. They Neo'd the shit out of that. But now it seems that Panda Global, which is one of the premier esports orgs for solo events like Super Smash Bros., has worked out a deal to bring the first officially licensed Smash circuit to North America for one for each of those games. And so that will be the first real, I can't remember if it is legitimately the first, but it will be certainly the most, I guess, the mostest licensed, whatever the hell it's going to be. But Godspeed. This is your chance, Smash community. Don't fuck this up. This is your one moment. Nintendo ain't about giving you second chances. This is the show. People show up and they haven't showered in 4 weeks, and they start touching kids. Nintendo gonna bounce on your ass real quick. So just show up and play the game. You can do it. I believe in you. You can make it happen. The big PlayStation remake that's been hinted at over the last few weeks, we talked about here on the podcast as well. We were guessing, I think, at the time that it might have been Metal Gear or one of the Metal Gear games. But now it seems that it's possibly been narrowed down to Chrono Cross. Not Chrono Trigger, but Chrono Cross, which of course had fans of both Cross and Trigger yelling at each other on Twitter for a little bit as to which one would have deserved the remake more than the other. Honestly, I don't think either of them needed a remake, but here we are anyway. Did you play either of those, Mr. Black, back in the day? Chrono Cross? Or Chrono Cross is probably more likely than Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, I beat Chrono Cross, but I played a little bit of. I actually played quite a bit of Chrono Trigger, but I did it like several years ago, so it wasn't that super long ago.
Yeah, some people were saying they would have just preferred a new game within that universe instead of going back and remastering one of these, or remaking. That's quite an undertaking. If you've never played Chrono Cross before, Chrono Cross, the story is neither here nor there, but the gameplay is pretty amazing, which is why it got such high scores back in the day. I think it was pushing 10s in a lot of places, 9 5s and 9 7s and whatnot. It had a bajillion characters, endless characters. And a lot of gameplay centered around the combinations of those characters. So I would not think that it is a light undertaking to remake Chrono Cross. And I don't think Chrono Cross is like, let's say, a Final Fantasy VII, where there's such a massive body of people waiting in the wings to go and buy a full-priced Chrono Cross remake or remaster. That spending that much time on it. So if it is that, I'll be interested to see how much of a treatment it gets. You know, what level of quality this will be. I doubt it's going to be Final Fantasy VII remake type shit. And hopefully it isn't. Because if they came out, can you imagine if we got Final Fantasy VII with like part 17 and then Chrono Cross is coming out and they're doing the same shit? We got remakes of old JRPGs that we're going to have to wait 4 decades to fucking get to the end of them. I don't want to see another Final Fantasy VII remake for that, to say the least. But, yeah, that's on the way, one way or the other. Apparently. We'll wait and see if it's true or not. Epic Games this week has acquired Harmonix Systems. Harmonix, most famous, of course, for making the Rock Band series back in the day when people could still have music in games and the licensing wasn't going to destroy everything in the video game industry. They have been picked up by Epic Games and are apparently, from what I've read, being slated into making various forms of content for Fortnite. I'm going to guess music related. Shot in the dark. I'm going to guess it's going to be music related for whatever that is. All I could think of when I saw this piece of news was how much fun Rock Band was when it came out. Shit was fire. The world was playing Rock Band. I remember how people were getting real serious with it too. They were getting like modded fucking drums and shit. They were getting like fancy friggin' mods for like pretty much every instrument you get your hands on. Everyone was getting real serious about the shit. Then they had like the Beatles version that was super dope that came out afterwards. And lots of downloadable content for it. Rock Band was a good time. And that was like right on the back of Guitar Hero, which was also fucking took over the world for quite some time and ensured that Through the Fire and Flames will be seared into the minds of every fucking person on Earth that was there to experience it for the rest of their adult lives. Nobody will ever be able to forget. And neither will the band, unfortunately. Now they're sick and tired of hearing people, oh, hey, you want to play me through the fire and flames? What's this? I can't think of his name. He actually streams and does YouTube content. A guitarist from the band, and like he memes about it all the time. Through the Fire and Flames is just like fucking a meme. And unfortunately for him, what he discovered was his peak content is when he reacts to people playing Through the Fire and Flames, and so he's just trapped in this constant hell of Through the Fire and Flames over and over and over again. But nevertheless. Godspeed to Harmonix for whatever Epic Games is going to make them work on over there for Fortnite. But at the same time, like, what else were they going to do? This is not the current climate, in the streaming world and whatnot that would have actually been enormous for a company like Harmonix in terms of people playing. Like Beat Saber had a massive community and whatnot, and then as soon as all these claims started rolling through, it basically just destroyed most of those games right off the rip. So maybe getting picked up by Epic Games was for the best. Keep them working away. Herman Lee, that's his name. Thank you. Guitarist. That most famously, he's doing very well now. It just means he has to forever listen to Through the Fire and Flames. That's fine. I'm sure he'll keep his sanity. Dragon Age fans are a little less confident in how the latest game is going this week, Mr. Black. As the senior creative director, Matt Goldman, and BioWare have, and this is a quote, mutually agreed to part ways, end quote. Which to me sounds an awful lot like he got fired. And he said, yes, fine, I'll leave. And then they came out and said, mutually agreed, he shouldn't be here. But we don't want to send him into the, we don't want to make him look bad. He's been here since 1998. We don't want him, we don't want to make him look bad. But you're fired. That, of course, is casting a little bit of doubt on the next Dragon Age game. Of course, when you lose a lead creative director, or senior even, I should say, not even lead, but like senior creative director, that's not good. But I'm sure they'll be able to pull something out because I don't think that game is going to be coming out anytime soon anyway. So they got lots of time to correct the ship on that. However, you know who doesn't have time to correct the ship? Battlefield 2042. And oh boy, is that a struggle bus over there. And now we know why. At least in part. We don't know the full story, but we have at least part of it, Mr. Black. Battlefield 2042. Now, if you were going to sign on, Mr. Black, a lead creative director or a senior creative director for your flagship first-person shooter, and you're down in the dumps because the last couple haven't really hit home runs, and you need to hit something special, where are you going to source your lead creative director from to try and make this happen? Would it A, be somebody who has previously had lead creative director experience in other major first-person shooter multiplayer video games, or B, a mobile developer that makes mobile games?
I mean, are you asking me the question?
I'm asking you the question. Who would you hire?
I mean, I would probably hire the person that actually makes games, not mobile games. Unless, they're seeing something that nobody else is seeing. I mean, I'm sure really good developers can make mobile games as well, but.
Well, not in this case. Unfortunately, okay. when they hired their lead creative director, Mr. Black, for 2042, and he's leaving now, by the way, the company, not surprisingly. They brought in the lead designer, sorry, not creative director, lead designer, that's even worse. The lead designer who was brought in from King, the mobile developer behind the illustrious Candy Crush. He's leaving DICE. He does leave. I suspect the EA looked at him and went, maybe we can bring him in and he can figure out how to make us some money. Which is weird because they're selling it for full price and not going for free to play, where he would probably have better ideas as to how to monetize the game in a free to play environment. Instead, they're selling it for full price. So a little bit of a conflict there as far as the logic goes. But he's gone. Now that it's shipped, I have a sneaking suspicion that's another mutually agreed to part ways situation. And it explains a lot of things that I came across in my time playing 2042, including some of the most confusing menus I have ever laid eyes on. Nothing made sense in those fucking menus, and Lots of the stuff in the game also, coincidentally, didn't make a lot of sense. Which is why, at best, you've got people that are diehard Battlefield fans struggling to justify why this game should even be in existence, while everyone else has already kind of decided that they don't want to spend that much money on Battlefield. I'm sure in no small part because of the next part that we're going to talk about here. Halo Infinite is free 99. It's $3.00. That's how that works. But before we do jump into the Halo, because it's a little bit of a longer thing, I'm just going to give you this. There's nothing to talk about. I just want to say it's happened. Star Citizen has officially passed $400 million, baby! Let's go!
So much money.
We're on our way to $500 million.
Crazy.
$500 million is en route. I can't wait to see it.
Send it on Twitter in 6 months, probably. That's crazy.
I said on Twitter, I can't wait for this to hit $500 million and hear the myriad excuses as to why this game hasn't launched like any semblance of a completed product. Just a bunch of like...
Well, the number is the reason why. I mean, why? Why? You just keep dragging it on. It's been in production for 10 years. There's no game out. None.
It's little parts of a game. You know, you can mine back and forth. You can do your trade route back and forth. You can have like, well, but they haven't actually like, brought that shit together in a game. Let alone Squadron. What's it called? Squadron 42 or whatever, which was supposed to be like the single player standalone thing. Apparently, that's still like 2 years or so out.
Yeah, like
from launching.
By the time the game launches, like everybody have already played the game anyway. Because it's not like they're holding like all of this content. It's like they're updating stuff and people are playing these new things, and then I don't know. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, the good news is they're opening a couple more studios and hiring like another 200 plus employees. So we're getting.
Let's act. Come on. What do you mean? Is that good news?
I guess they're finding somewhere to spend the money. I mean, if you've got the money, you got to find a way to spend it, and they've got a lot of money to spend, Mr. Black. They're $400 million, so they got several dollars.
They're buying Lambos. I'm telling you that right now. That's what they're doing. They're buying Lambos.
Is Chris Roberts the next guy that like the YouTube advertisement comes up and is dude in a garage with a Lambo and a bookshelf behind him? Is he the next?
That's it. That's it.
You'll never guess how I earned so much money to buy this Lambo and have all these books behind me.
Star Citizen. All I did was this.
One simple trick.
I gave a very big bullshit story about how people can leave their miserable lives and live another life in space through the galaxies. And it's so big and so vast that, it's like an infinite exploring game where you can live a totally different life. And it's amazing. You can buy these ships and customize them and start your own galactic wars and just basically live there. Like, think of World of Warcraft, but in space and better. And, you can let your inner nerd out. And I sold people that pipe dream. That's what I did.
And I bought this Lambo in these books. And for the low price of $499, I can give you the course. It's available online. But if you order today, I'm going to hack down that price half off. $249.99. Can I also get a free Star Citizen ship for buying this ebook?
No. No.
No, that's too much. Now we're asking for too much.
There's a lot of effort that went into this. We need to get paid for our creativity here.
There are more books and more Lambos that I need to buy, and I just can't be handing out these ships for free.
That's it.
Can't happen. Halo Infinite, Mr. Black. Before I talk about like the new stuff from in Halo this week, first let's you played a little bit of it. You dabbled. What were your thoughts on your dabbling in Halo Infinite this week?
I like it.
Yeah,
I've played it twice. I've had a lot of people leave the games, which is unfortunate, but
In 4v4s or in big team battles?
4v4s.
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
so
I haven't got it in 4s. Big team battles all the fucking time.
Yeah, 4 out of 10 games for my placements were AFKs, like just left.
Wow, holy shit.
So,
That's weird.
that was kind of shitty, but it's whatever. I didn't really care all that much. Game is competent. It's fun. It plays well.
Did it remind you of did it give you an older Halo feel? Because for me, when I played it, it was obviously very new Halo, but there was enough feeling of old Halo in there, like in terms of how it moved, how the guns felt. It definitely felt distinctly Halo.
Yeah, it felt like Halo. There was like enough new to like kind of make it. It's like sort of recreative. It's like a reimagining of Halo, which I can appreciate. I think they hit it out of the park with it. It's free to play, which is amazing. Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean, how can you complain about a free to play Halo of this quality?
Yeah.
But there's a but. There is a but. And I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I think that this is the best version of Halo we're ever going to see. And I've realized that I'm kind of over Halo. I've just realized that like it's a competent game. If I'm going to play a shooter, it's probably going to be that right now. But I've also realized that Halo has come and run its course for me. If this is the best version of Halo that we've had since Halo 3, and in my opinion it is, and I think a lot of people will agree with it. I mean, we haven't played a campaign yet, but in terms of like your multiplayer experience, in my opinion,
the
this
competency
is the best.
of the multiplayer,
yeah, like this for sure is the best version that we've had in a very long time, in like 10 years, or more. But it doesn't, like, I don't wake up in the morning itching to play Halo. I'm not like, I need to fucking play this shit. When I play it, it's fine. It's fun. I mean, I still rage a lot.
That's any competitive game for me now.
Yeah,
I just rage at everything.
It is what it is, and it wouldn't be Halo if I didn't rage. But I've realized that I'm over it. It's kind of like say you got an ex-girlfriend, and you guys break up, and you had a good relationship. You fantasized about, and then you've run the gauntlet. You've gone out, you've experimented, and you miss the old. You're like, man, if I could just go back, the grass really isn't greener on the other side. If only. You're just chilling, watching some Netflix, relaxing. When you get a little message on your Facebook app or your Meta app or whatever it's called these days, and you look down there, and you see it's your ex, and she's messaging you, and she's like, "Hey, you want to get together? I'm in town." You had nothing going on. You haven't had sex in 2 weeks. You're like, "Yeah, fuck it. Let's get together." So you get together, and she's looking better than she ever did. She's independent, got her own thing going. She's basically the best version of her you've ever seen. And then you go in and you smash, and she's better than what she was before. She went out there. She had a lot of different dicks. She's had some experiences. She's bringing it in. Everything is great. And then you're done. And then you realize this was the best version I've ever had. But I'm over it. I've moved on. My taste is different. You're great. You're going to make somebody very happy. But you ain't for me anymore. I'm over it. I grew out of it. That's Halo for me right now.
That's a good analogy. I think that's gonna resonate with a fair number of people, certainly. Because at least for people that I think it goes one of two ways. For people that have stayed playing a lot of first-person shooters over the years and haven't dipped out of them for the most part, I think that it goes one of two ways. One, they'll have the same thoughts you did, where it's like, all right, I've kind of grown out of it. I have different tastes now. My shooter preferences are now this.
Yeah.
And then there are others that have been in that other category of shooter and go back to Halo, and you're like, oh my god, I missed this version of shooters. Because Halo is very distinctly its own shooter. No other shooter plays
and that's the way it should
like
be.
Halo. Exactly.
It should be.
Because when they did some of the more recent Halos, they were trying to be the other shooters. They were trying to be Call of Duty or whatever. And it didn't work all that well at all. I mean, they really pissed off a lot of their fan base by changing the Halo formula, too much. And now we're back to here, and it feels like that, like you said, I agree. I think this is the best version of Halo we're likely to ever get. All of their additions, even the ones that might have on the surface, like when I first heard about a grapple shot, I was like, oh my god, are we really putting a grapple shot in Halo? And then you get in and you start using the grapple shot, and you're like, this is arguably the greatest thing that Halo has ever fucking included in a game. This grapple shot is incredible. It opens up so many crazy tactical opportunities and amazing highlight reel type situations. And all of the gear, like the repulsor. Where I didn't think about it until I watched the championship series, that crazy, they had this week, which was just a qualifier, but it went to a bracket reset and then another, best of 5 at the end, and it went all the way to the 5th game, and it was nail-biter the whole way through, and I see this guy take the repulsor, and he's in the middle of a fight, but he's got to get up this ledge, and he can't get up there to get to the fight fast enough, so he's got the repulsor, so he jumps, looks down, and repulsors the ground, and pushes himself up onto that edge, and I never even thought to use the repulsor that way. And you see all these people coming up with these unique ways of making use of all this new equipment that you might have looked at and gone, oh, who cares if I can fucking once in a blue moon repulse a grenade back at a motherfucker. Well, now people are like, oh, let me knock this guy off the edge with a repulsor, or let me use it as a rocket jump for free to get up a ledge, or to speed boost myself. Maybe I need to catch up to somebody real quick.
That's what I was using it for.
Jump, turn around, boost the floor kind of situation. There's a lot of really unique, because the sandbox of Halo and Halo's physics is pretty robust. I mean, you're talking about people where you're shooting grenades in midair and killing people as they're throwing grenades and things of that nature. So I do agree. I think this is the best version of Halo we're likely ever to get, or certainly the best version of Halo we could have gotten right now.
Yeah.
I can't envision how they could have really come out of the gate and not, especially with how tumultuous this development process has been. I think it's a miracle that it's as good as it is. And hopefully that extends to the campaign, which everyone that's previewed it here in the last 10 days or so has said pretty much unanimously that it's really fucking good. So hopefully that this year has miraculously allowed them to pull all this off and give us the best Halo. But, like you said, that doesn't mean that everyone's going to be into it. Halo is a very unique shooter experience. It might convert some people. It might turn some people off because their tastes have changed, or they're just not into that style of shooter at all.
Yep.
So many people are conditioned for fast, breakneck speed shooters now. We're not quite Quake in Call of Duty, but Call of Duty is pushing as far up to fucking Quake as they can get in terms of speed, because people want this instant everything. Spawns are instantaneous. You run out, meat grinder. You spawn, you're dying. You spawn, you're dying. You spawn, you're dying. You spawn, you kill 2 people, you die. You spawn, you die. Spawn, you die. Spawn, you die. Over and over again. And Halo is you get into you get out there, and the time to kill can be so long, even if you have perfect aim, that team shooting becomes a mechanic that you have to learn. You can't just be a lone wolf and expect to take on 4 people. You can pull it off if you're a god, but you can't just magically do it like you could in a Call of Duty or some shit where you just sweatily run around in a circle until you fucking shot everyone. You got to put in a lot of work, and team shooting becomes the thing, and the dance that you fucking end up doing, and not just the strafe, but getting amazing at grenades. If you suck at grenades like I do in Halo, you're going to have a bad time a lot of the time. You're going to learn to plant that grenade at a motherfucker's feet first shot, or you're often dead. And so, yeah, it's going to turn some people off. So I appreciate that it wouldn't be for you. I'm glad to hear that it's not that you're craving to play it, but when you play it, you still have a pretty good time.
Fun. I still have fun. This is not like a bad review on Halo. I actually think it's quite positive. I just played the best version of Halo that I've ever seen in a very long time, and it's good, but it's not exciting me like it used to, or anything like, you know.
I will say I had my first kind of an almost flashback situation last night when I was playing. Because we just opened the lobby up and we just had 10 of us playing Big Team Battle all in the Discord, and it felt like some old Xbox Live type shit.
That'd be fun.
And I wasn't even at one point with the conversations we were having were overtaking my ability to play, and I just didn't fucking care. I was in Halo. I was trying to play do some stupid crazy shit. I didn't care if I won or lost. We were just chilling playing Halo. And 10 people, talking and laughing and having a good time in chat, and that was an experience I haven't had in a game in a really long time, because there's not many games that you can get 10 people together, and go in and play anymore. And so that was an eye opener for me as well. Yes, the Battle Pass thing is absolute dog shit. Everyone knows it. They know it. We know it. Everyone's writing about it in the public, publishing this. Everyone knows it's bad. They can work on that. The important thing is the gameplay is
good.
Locked in right now.
Yeah, it's good.
And that's good.
Yeah.
They had their first event that went up here, and I do have a couple of things and other people again not also particularly happy with it. The items are fine. The unlocks are good if you're into the armor, if you think it looks good. The problem is that the challenge, or the challenges that you need to progress through the separate battle pass for the event, are also loaded into the same bracket of weekly challenges that occupy the normal battle pass. And so you can have a situation where you have none of the event challenges in your queue, and you have to go in and clear the other challenges to unlock and repopulate it randomly with an event challenge to then get it. You also have a cap on challenges where for each session that they're running this event over the course of however many fucking weeks, there's 6 different times they're going to run this event before it runs out. You can only get 7 challenges completed before you get capped, and then you don't get any more. So you can't complete the battle pass on your own time either. You have to keep coming back after you get 7. So you're at best, if there's 30, I think, levels to it. So you're going to do 5 separate runs out of the 6 to come back just to get it completed if you're interested in doing it. So that's, I'll be honest, it's fucking shit. It's terrible. It's a horrible way to run it. And it has perpetuated people not playing the objective in games because they get the challenges and they're trying to clear them to get to the weekly challenge now because they can't always just do those challenges specifically. And you get people posting endless screenshots of the in-game chat where people are like, play the point, and they're like, no, sorry, I got this challenge to fucking do, and you're just doomed. So they definitely do need to have a lot of internal discussion on how to clean that up because it is affecting the core multiplayer experience for some people. We also started seeing the first round of hackers come in. That's not a surprise. It's a free-to-play game. That was inevitable. What I would like to see is them talk about how they're going to manage hacking, because I don't know if we've seen enough from them as to how they're going to manage that, because as a free-to-play game, you have to expect it's going to happen. And in a game where each battle is quite a dragged-out process because it's not just about who sees who first, hacking is no fun in Halo. You have a chance of killing somebody in Call of Duty that's hacking because it only takes 3 seconds or not even 3 seconds, 0.7 seconds to kill somebody. But in Halo, take a while. So if somebody's just doming you in Halo over and over again, you're just going to have a real bad time. So I want to see them talk a bit more about that. But again, very much positive. And yeah, I look forward to playing some more, especially after last night. Now I feel like if I go on, I don't want to play ranked or something, I just open up the lobby, you just get a bunch of people. It feels like 2007 or 2006 all over again when everyone's just playing on Xbox Live and chilling. So that was quite a fun experience. And that's all we got for game news, Mr. Black, which means it's time to sell out.
Patreon.com/legtv. Head on over there, throw your money at the screen. If you can't afford to do that, that's okay. Make sure that you leave a review on iTunes and Spotify and all those other places. Leave a comment on the YouTube for the algorithm. Hit the like button. Share it with a friend. We also got sponsors. It's that time of year. So if you guys are looking for a good Christmas gift for a loved one or a friend, head on over to Elgato. They've got tons of products from webcams to lighting to capture cards to stream decks, audio equipment, soundproofing equipment. You name it, they got it. And it's very affordable. The most affordable stuff on the market for the quality, hands down. But make sure that you guys go and check them out. Link will be in the description below because these guys sell out all the time on a lot of their products. And I'm sure around the holiday season, it is going to be damn near impossible. Yeah, it's going to be bad. So get ahead of the curve. We're still in November, not for too much longer, but still got a shot to go and pick up the stuff that you want for the holiday season. And if you want to stay safe and anonymous while you're on the internet, you can use NordVPN, nordvpn.com/OTT. Link is also in the description below. Use the promo code OTT and get a big discount with some bonus months when you get a 2-year subscription. And you can watch different regions of Netflix, watch region block content, mask your IP, have access to maybe games that you normally couldn't get access to. Lots of stuff you can do with a VPN, but most importantly, when you're out in public Wi-Fi areas or you're traveling and you don't want to use somebody else's IP, you can go ahead and mask it. With the servers at our high speed, you can game on them, stream on them, game and stream on them at the same time. You can use up to 6 simultaneous devices, anywhere from your smart TV to your smartphone, laptop, Mac. It doesn't matter. They got you covered with NordVPN. And if it isn't doing whatever it is that you want it to do for whatever use and purpose that you are getting it for, get your money back within 30 days, guaranteed, no questions asked. They guarantee the service is going to work. And if it doesn't, get your money back. It's a win-win. And you get to support us, the sponsor, and yourself. It's a win-win-win. All right, it's that time. Go pick them up. Shout outs to NordVPN for holding it down. That's it.
Boom. Now it's time to talk about
movies and TV.
Earthworm Jim. That used to be a video game.
Yes.
It's getting a TV series, Mr. Black. Because fucking why not? I'm not sure how that plays. As long as it's not, live action, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Don't live action Earthworm. Nobody wants to see that shit.
No.
I'm not even sure people want to see animated Earthworm Jim TV, but
I think we're at the point now where there is so much money in TV, like in terms of streaming and shit, that studios
they're gonna take everything.
They're just greenlighting really anything to see what sticks. So, what can you do?
Sounds like the 90s, really, if you think about it. Like the 90s where there was so much excess of everything and TV was just like, pitch me an idea. And somebody came in and they're still high on coke from the 80s. And they deliver one of the craziest pitches of all time. And they say, yes, give me like 5 seasons of whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
And then they did. And that was the 90s. And it was a wonderful time. Maybe we're getting a little bit of that and then deep into 2021.
Oh.
Hideo Kojima is one step closer to his dream of just having one giant cutscene as Kojima Productions launches a new TV, film, and music division, Mr. Black. No more will Hideo Kojima have to suffer making video games just so that he can put 4-hour cutscenes in them. Now, he can just skip right to the point and make 4-hour cutscenes and put them out on Netflix in the future. Truly, the future is now for Mr. Hideo Kojima.
Bless.
Ridley Scott. Been a busy week for Mr. Ridley Scott, Mr. Black. He's been, Ridley Scott has never been afraid to speak his mind, and this has been one of his weeks, for sure. He's a bit of an eccentric movie director, to say the least. But my favorite quote from Mr. Ridley Scott this week was which I wish I added the quote here, but it went along the lines of and this was in regards to The Last Duel, his current movie that's out
which
in
I hear
theaters.
is good. Which I hear is like really good.
Here's the problem. He said that his movie is underperforming because it made like 27 mil or some shit in its first run.
Yeah.
He said it's failing because all these millennials growing up on their fucking phones. To which I had a couple of question marks about that, Mr. Black. Couple of things. One, does he realize how old millennials are now? Because I feel like he's talking about them like they're still 19 years old.
I mean, dude, the guy is 83 years old. So it makes sense. And he's probably low-key losing his fucking mind.
And two, I am the core fucking demographic for this movie. Until I saw that quote pop up in my timeline, I hadn't even heard of The Last Duel. It's got actors and actresses I would want to watch. It's on a subject matter that I'd be down to see. I would totally watch this film. And I didn't see a single solitary advertisement. I live on social media. I am a fucking cave troll. I am literally on my phone, like he said, and on the computer all day, every day. I didn't hear a single person talk about it. I didn't see anything on my timeline. I didn't get hit up with any advertisements on like YouTube or some shit. Zero. And so maybe Shot in the Dark is not doing well because the advertising run was doo-doo. My best guess. Or people just don't fucking care about medieval like gore porn with A-list actors.
They definitely do. I mean, they had like Adam Driver, Ben Affleck, fucking Matt Damon.
They're all there.
I mean, it's a star-studded cast, and apparently the movie's really good. They just didn't market it very well at all. I heard about it because like I'm heavy in the movie scene, and I pretty much know everything that's coming out. But like, I'm a small group of people. Like I'm the minority. I think what happened is they were worried about COVID, so they didn't want to spend a shit ton of money in advertisement in case they had to like push the movie back and then do another run of advertisement, which costs tens of millions or in some cases $100 million, depending on what you're doing. So I think a big part of it was just bad marketing. I think that's like 80% of the problem. I think the other bit of the problem is also COVID. So people. You need to really have a movie that people cannot resist going to the movies for. Things are picking up now again in the movie theaters, but for a while, like people would only go for very specific things, and this is sort of a
little too niche for them.
Yeah, I think so. For like the masses, for them to run out. Like if it was on streaming as well, I think this is a movie that probably would have done a little bit better if it was streaming and theater at the same time. Probably would have made a little bit more money. But Ridley Scott, this is just a really bad hot take on his behalf. I mean, the guy he's a phenomenal film director. I mean, he fucking made Gladiator. Gladiator 2 is like greenlit. It's happening. Yep. I mean, it's not even just Gladiator. He's made a ton of fucking great films. And like he's got another one out now, I think. Yeah, dude, the guy is a legend. Like he's a film legend. He's just an 83-year-old bitter old man that made a good movie, and he's fucking salty as shit that people didn't fucking chomp at the bit to run out to watch his movie, especially with all of his star-studded cast. So he just had a hot take.
Yeah,
that's what this is.
So in the spirit of Mr. Ridley Scott's blaming the millennials for something, I have a nice little collection here of things that the media has blamed millennials for killing. Over the last while. Somebody put this together, clipped a bunch of newspaper clippings of all the things over the last few years where millennials were blamed for destroying or killing, well, damn near everything, really, if you've been keeping up. So here's a couple of good ones here. How hipster millennials are killing the Big Mac. Are millennials killing credit? ? Millennials are killing the beer industry. Now millennials are killing marmalade, Mr. Black. How millennials killed the focus group. Millennials are killing chains like Buffalo Wild Wings and Applebee's. Millennials are killing a $1 billion diet staple. Millennials are killing relationships, and we should be concerned. Going along with that, there's one in here about millennials not having sex. Millennials are killing the napkin industry, Mr. Black. We are responsible for the napkin industry's demise.
Wow.
Oh, yes, there it is there. Why aren't millennials having sex? Well done, millennials. You've officially ruined handshakes for everyone.
Well, we may have done that.
It's possible.
I mean,
although I think COVID ruined handshakes for everyone.
Well, I mean, I don't see a lot of people doing your standard handshakes anymore. I think it's more of a lot more props and like different ways to I might agree with that. I mean, the generation before were, firm handshakers, you know what I'm saying? Like now we're not really. That's one I'll give them. I'll give them that.
Wait. Are millennials killing the car industry? ? Their bosses? ? Apparently millennials are killing their bosses. That's a good one. Millennials are allegedly ruining hotels for every other generation. Not just the older generations, but also the younger generations.
I mean, I kind of agree with that, but I mean, it's not that we're killing
We're just using
industry.
Airbnb.
We're using Airbnb. We're not. We can go into a home or a flat and not deal with concierge and fucking bookings, like, going in there paying overpriced. Although Airbnb isn't the cheapest thing, you're by yourself for the most part. You get to have a home experience being somewhere else. You take that over a hotel just about every day of the week.
Here's a good one. Are millennials killing the vacation? Maybe because we can't afford to take one. That might be part of the problem.
Could be it.
Did millennials kill fashion, Mr. Black? We're probably the wrong people to ask that question.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Millennials aren't eating cereal because it's too much work.
Okay, that's a hot take.
Here's one for you. Millennials are killing the movie business.
No, I don't think that's it at all. The streaming is killing the movie business. That's, just the internet is killing the movie business, right? It's not millennials. It's the way the industry is going. And it's not dead by any means. It's just things are changing.
Did millennials kill the Hangout sitcom, Mr. Black?
I don't know.
Or did we just have so many Hangout sitcoms that nobody wants to fucking watch Hangout sitcoms anymore?
Yeah, I think there's just been so many shitty Hangout sitcoms that, like, we're just over them. And there's so much shit to choose from. I don't know, man. I find any show that has a laugh track pretty fucking cringy.
Oh, it's brutal.
I think there's that 70s show.
Yeah.
And
you gotta tastefully do a fucking laugh track, and a lot of them aren't tasteful. They're blatantly obvious.
I'm not a fan of laugh track shows at all anymore. It just takes me out of it.
The last one, Mr. Black, you ready for this one? How millennials almost, in parentheses, killed the wine cork.
I don't even know I don't even know how that's even possible, but all right, man.
Dude, our generation fucked up the world, apparently. We have destroyed everything.
Yeah.
Literally massacring. Are millennials killing gyms? No. Are millennials killing the golf industry? No. We're the reason golf got popular. What the fuck are you talking about? Seriously. Tiger Woods era came up. We're the only reason that shit's fucking popular.
Yep.
Come on now. Anyway, I thought that was quite funny. It does happen with great frequency that millennials are blamed for it. And it's not that they're saying that millennials are the reason for something declining. They literally say we kill fucking everything. We're murderers. We're mass murderers of every industry on Earth, as it were. Amazon Studios is closing in on a deal to develop a series based on Mass Effect. Oh boy, they already have The Expanse, so I'm a little confused as to why they're dipping their toes in the Mass Effect water. But
maybe Expanse is leaving.
Maybe.
Who knows? I didn't even know that show was still going.
They passed it, Netflix passed it to Amazon, and Amazon picked up the baton and
all right, well,
kept going.
There you go.
I can't think of very many things off the top of my head that would be more difficult to not fuck up than doing a Mass Effect TV show, and I think the only people I could really trust is probably HBO to pull something like that off. But Amazon has like an above average track record now. Like at first it wasn't so hot. They've got they've got several good shows on there. So like, you know, Wheel of Time is getting like plus or minus reviews.
And Lord of the Rings is coming,
far.
right? So
that's true.
We'll see, right? It's just they spent like $500 million on that show.
Damn, that's like one whole Star Citizen.
It's the biggest, it's bigger than Game of Thrones budget. Like it's crazy.
Can you imagine $500 million for an entire Lord of the Rings series, or
it's like 6 episodes?
Half-baked Star Citizen.
Yeah, no, fuck Star Citizen.
Choose your battle. You know what I'm waiting for? Millennials killed Star Citizen. That's the ultimate. That's coming up. And the last one that I have on this list is just me saying I saw Dune and I saw Shang-Chi.
What'd you think?
Dune was good. Dune was good. It was certainly something that would have been salty if they couldn't have followed up the movie. That's for sure. Scale was done very well, probably better than, like you were saying. I think I'd agree that the only other movie that did scale in a similarly impressive way would be Interstellar, in terms of sci-fi doing scale properly. So many sci-fi movies have like these, you know, ships or these big grandiose buildings and whatnot, and the scale just doesn't, it's just not impressive. It looks like you're walking down a fucking residential street. Shit, not all that impressive. And you get to Dune, and they're like, here's a starship. It's the size of Texas. And you see, but to do it justice, they like pan way back, and you're seeing this person that's like a fucking dot, 3 pixels on your 4K television. And they did a really good job of that. Beautifully shot. Great music. I mean, Hans Zimmer, so big fucking shock there that the music would be pretty good. Cast all nailed their parts wonderfully. And I'm certainly on board for whatever Dune 2 is going to be in 2023. I'm there for the follow-up. For sure. I hope people see it. More people see it and not be concerned, because I think a lot of the discussion around it was like that it was very cerebral. I don't think it's particularly fucking cerebral. It's it's like it's more cerebral than you went to a science fiction, you know, your average science fiction
Star
movie.
Wars, but it's not like
but it's you're not going in there like trying to like pick apart every single thing that you see. It's not that cerebral. So hopefully people can get scared off by that. But everyone did a great job, and I can't wait to see more from that. And then Shang-Chi was also really good. I don't know what else to say about Shang-Chi, but it was really good. I would say that there were some parts that were very Marvel, and after having seen lots of Marvel movies, the effect of those Marvel moments is starting to maybe wear thin. And I'm referring to like some of what are trying to be comedic aspects of Shang-Chi. A character in particular that shows up that maybe has more screen time than they need to have screen time in this film. You probably know who I'm talking about. I just don't want to give it away in case people haven't seen it yet. Not that he was bad, and I love him as an actor. I think he's fucking amazing. But he just, like, in the context of that movie specifically, maybe didn't need to be on the screen as often as he was. At least for me. But everything else, visually stunning. The end of the movie has some of the best visuals, outside of something like Endgame, obviously, that we've probably seen in a Marvel film. And our Canadian boy did us proud. I mean, he had some crazy fucking action shit in that. The parkour type shit he was doing in particular on the bus in a couple of spots. I'm pretty sure he almost, I want to say decapitated. My brain didn't want to go there. I'm pretty sure he almost ripped his own head off a couple of times doing some of those scenes. for sure. And so yeah, he did us proud, and I think. What's her name? She's got a relatively unique name that plays his opposite. Yeah. She did a great job. Being his his general comedic relief. Maybe that's why that other character I feel like didn't need as much time. It was like she was already carrying that cross for like the whole film.
There was a reason why that character was in the movie.
Oh, I get canonically why.
Yeah.
I just don't think that to accomplish that he needed to be on the screen as much as he was. But I also love him as an actor, so it was kind of like neither here nor there. But yeah, really, really good. Appreciated it a great deal, and I can't wait to see him in more stuff now. Carry on that next phase of Marvel. I would say he's probably a front runner for me as to why I would give a fuck about the next phase of Marvel at this time.
Yep.
For sure. So yeah, big thumbs up on both films. No doubt about it. And that's it. Do you have anything else that you for movies and TV this week?
I mean, I saw King Richard, the Will Smith movie with that plays Serena and Venus Williams' father.
Right, that's like a semi-bio-ish kind of situation, biography-ish.
Yeah,
deal.
it is. It's definitely worth a watch for sure. It's going to be Oscar buzz. And I think Will's probably going to win his first Oscar. I think it's going to happen.
It's finally going to happen.
I think it's going to happen. I think it's his time. He's getting older. There's not too much competition this year for Best Actor. He does a phenomenal job. How
close to Will in Pursuit of Happiness is this role for him?
It's very this movie is very Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
That
was the feel I got from the trailer, right?
It's almost like it's the same sort of vibe. There's a little bit more comedy in this. It's not a comedy film, but there's definitely more. It's more lighthearted than Pursuit of Happiness, which was very like gloom and you got
your feelings kicked in that movie pretty much the entire time.
Yeah, like you get your feelings kicked a couple times in this movie for sure. Especially if you're a parent. Like, that's one thing that's like ever since I became a dad, like
movies have changed now.
Movies are they definitely hit different, man. Like different specific topics and different things. Like it just hits different. So like, as a dad, and he plays a father and he's the star. Like the movie's about him.
Right.
But then after I was done watching the movie, like the last couple of days, I've been watching more Venus and Serena stuff. Like I'm more interested in their life. I never followed
they had
them.
A crazy life, bro.
Yeah, they're still
ride.
doing their thing. So it's a good movie. It's not something you should rush out to the theater and watch, but if you can watch it on digital, which it is released on digital as well, so you should definitely watch it.
Nice.
I recommend everybody to watch it. Kayla watched it as well. She liked it. It's a little long. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes or so, and you can kind of feel the length. It definitely could have been cut like another 10, 15 minutes, but there wasn't any part where I was like, this didn't need to be in the movie. It started to feel lengthy, but I was enjoying it as well. Like I almost didn't want it to end. I wanted to see more. But it's a coming of age story. It's about a father who knew exactly what he wanted for his girls. They wanted it as well. They idolized him. They looked up to him. He had their best interest at heart. He's also a flawed individual. So like he had his own demons and he's dealing with his own things. But overall, it's just a great sports movie that has a lot of the same tropes as a lot of the other sports movies you've seen in the past, with a little bit of a twist. And I just really, really enjoyed it. It's not a movie I'll watch again, but it's a movie that deserves a watch and deserves praise. And I can't wait to see a movie if somebody ever does a movie about Tiger Woods.
That's bound to happen eventually.
Because they're the Tiger Woods of tennis,
yeah.
There's a lot of like racial related things in this film as well. Two black sisters coming from Compton to, coming into a world that is literally white. Very few.
It doesn't get much more
players.
white than tennis and golf.
is white, right? like rich white.
And it's
like
still
not even
white. Yeah.
Like it's not, it's like golf. Like, and I would even argue that tennis might even be even richer than golf.
It's
on
possible.
That scale, right? Because like in golf, really anybody can pick it up. Same with tennis, but to really get the training that you need and to be you need to join very specific elite clubs that cost a lot of money. And it's a lot of rich families that groom their children into becoming these tennis players. And we had, 2 kids from the ghetto making it and being dominant and becoming the goddesses of their sport and are the goats of their sport and have been, just kind of like Tiger Woods. Except Tiger Woods' story is a little bit different, but it's sort of very similar.
Tracks similar.
Yeah.
Tracks
So,
for sure.
it hit it on all cylinders for me. And, I'm black as well. So, it speaks to me as well. And there's a lot of different things in there that I can relate to. And it was just a solid movie. Might be one of the better films I've seen this year. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it just as much as I did Shang-Chi in Dune, in its own right. They're 3 different, totally different movies.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed them all. And, I put that up there. He's getting Will Smith, mark my words, he's winning an Oscar this year or I guess would be early next year for this movie.
Wonderful. Well, he got the nod for Pursuit, I think. So maybe this is his second time to bat in that similar vein. So is this his moment? I will say, well, before we dump over, Em and I started watching the lots more South Korean stuff showing up on Netflix lately, obviously, especially now that we've gotten, the Squid Game popped off. I mean, they already had a lot of Korean stuff on there, but now we're getting even more stuff. They just put on a horror series called Hellbound.
Yeah.
We watched all but the last 2 episodes. Gonna watch the last 2 episodes of that. And I wouldn't even call it horror. I would call it the most depressing fucking show I think I've watched in a long time. And so if you're not down for just getting, depressed and angry, maybe don't watch that show. I don't know what the last 2 episodes hold, but it went back to the well one too many times to repeat something that didn't serve a different purpose in terms of the narrative, and it just served to just be like more depressing. So unless they just were, their goal was to just depress people as much as humanly possible going into the final 2 episodes, I guess maybe that's it. But between Squid Game and Hellbound, one thing's for sure: the Koreans like their shock stuff. They must be into the shocking fucking genres, because if there's one thing Hellbound does, it gets your attention pretty quick, for sure. And otherwise, that's it, which means it's time to move on to
tech support.
Patreon.com/LagTV. Financially support us, please. $10 or more per month gets you a couple of benefits, chiefly the ability to ask us questions each and every week on a post I put up before the podcast called Tech Support, where you can ask us your questions and we have your hot and spicy answers, at least for as many as we can get done in the time that we have. First up, let's see here. Cryptic Cyanide asks, Jeff, do you intend to eventually show Kai any anime? If so, at what age? Anything else other than Dragon Ball?
Nothing other than Dragon Ball. That's it.
This is
Dragon
one only.
Ball or bust.
Are you gonna start him at Dragon Ball, then Z, then like the fucking
we're gonna
Super?
Move him up. We're gonna move him all the way up.
Are you doing abridged, or are you putting him through the stupid arcs of like the Saiyaman?
We're putting through the whole damn thing, man. We're gonna watch it from start to finish together.
You're really gonna put him through Saiyaman, bro? That's terrible.
I'm gonna put him through it all. And I mean, if he's a kid, he's probably gonna like that part, Yeah,
that's true. Speaking of tennis, in the Saiyaman arc, they play tennis.
There you go. They do.
Danjum's back with another console. This time it's the 360. Top 3 Xbox 360 titles. Halo 3, we just talked about earlier. Oh boy. Halo 3, Oblivion or Skyrim based on your tastes in Elder Scrolls. They're different enough that, just leave it up to your interpretation, but it's one of those. And then Lost Odyssey.
Man.
There's a lot of 360 is one of like the best libraries in modern gaming. I know we're
got a lot, but I never really.
That was a heavy multiplayer era for us too. Like the 360, we played mostly like 4 or 5 games, and they were all multiplayer.
I'm gonna go with Battlefield Bad Company 2. Is like the best.
It's a good one.
Just looking at what I have back there. I'm gonna go with Halo. Man, I'm gonna go with Halo 3.
Yeah.
I liked Halo 3 more than Halo 2, personally. I know that some people. I
like 2's multiplayer.
Yeah. Okay, 2's multiplayer better. Halo 3
is a package.
It's better.
3 as a package is one of the greatest releases of all time for any fucking game.
Yeah. And I'm gonna pick Halo 2. I'm gonna pick Halo 3 for the list. But Halo 2, I think, had the better multiplayer.
Well, that's the original Xbox as well, so it's not 360.
That's true. Okay,
yeah.
so Halo 3 makes me feel
better.
Geesh, man.
I mean, that's where Modern Warfare 1 and 2 were as well. That's where, that's where Forza showed up on the scene. Forza Motorsport 2 is my most played 360 game. I discovered the other day. There's a lot of really good games on the 360.
I don't know a third game, bro. Just so I can trigger you.
Oh no.
And a lot of other people out there.
Oh no. Okay.
My number 3, because I can't think of anything else right now.
Okay.
Final Fantasy
13. Oh.
I'm gonna say it because listen, and here's why. I'm not putting if I put another game up there right now, off the top of my head, it's gonna be another shooter, and I need something that's not
fair
a shooter.
Fair.
Okay, and I played Final Fantasy 13, and I beat it, and I liked it. I didn't hate 13. I wasn't a big fan of the linear part to it, but at the same time, it kept the story going. Kept the game flowing and going. Now 13-2, that shit, the lightning, fucking all that, yeah, that shit can just jump off a short pier. But I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy 13 because it's not a shooter, and I enjoyed it. And let's keep it 100, man. That's the best Final Fantasy that we had in a very long time.
Oh, I mean, 10 is inarguably better than 13.
It is.
12 is up to your interpretation of whether or not you wanted to have the Star Wars story.
I can't go with 12. And I think 10 is probably the better Final Fantasy game as a whole, but I think 13 knew its lane. I think it did it well, and it spawned the new version of Final Fantasies that we've been getting over the last,
for better or worse,
10 years, for better or worse. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say that just to trigger some folks.
What was that fucking motorbike one that was in the arcade? Trials. That we played so much fucking Trials. Remember that? We go on Xbox Live. Trials, the motorbike game that you had to get like from one side of the level to the other in like the shortest period of time.
Trials HD.
That was it. We played so much Trials HD one night. I got home from university and you and I were on until 5 a.m. Yeah. Actually, later than that.
Later.
I was still in my clothes in this room. The overhead light was on. Mom walked into the room at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning and said, "You're up early." And I said, "I actually never slept." I got home from university, played Trials HD. When I went to bed, all I could hear in my mind, because you'd get like halfway through a level and you press the back button to restart if you fucked up. Oh. And you'd hear the same engine rev over and over and over again. And so in my sleep, that night. It was just ring, 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 over and over and over again. It's crazy. Theodore asks, is the Canadian health system as good as they say? Is it really free of charge? I mean, it's not free insofar as that it's part of our federal and provincial taxes that go into the budgets that then pay for subsidized healthcare nationally. So it's not free in terms of like they're just giving it to you for $0, for your life. Is it as good as they say? It's good insofar as that, and this is just my opinion, it's good insofar as that if I got in a car accident and I go to the hospital because I was in a car accident, I'm going to be taken care of basically immediately, and when I come out of whatever fucking medically induced coma or whatever needs to happen to patch me up, or even if it's something that's just, I've got cracked ribs or broken arm or whatever the fuck, I'm not going to leave that hospital with a massive bill on the other side that could possibly financially ruin me. Because just like anything, while we definitely pay for it with our taxes, I would rather spread that out over my lifetime and reap the benefits of it over my lifetime, going in as I need to, even as a healthy individual that's only stepped foot in a hospital a couple times in my life. Knock on wood thus far. I would rather that than be concerned that I'm gonna have a big bill that's just like a nuclear bomb that I can't financially take in one sitting, or have to fight with my insurance company to try and whittle that number down, etc., etc. So the other side to that is just like anything that's public versus private. Privately run because it's for profit and they have more funds tends to result in, I guess, better on average care, although there are some examples where people will still travel to places that that isn't the case. Like, let's say Mexico, for example, is a popular place for some people to go for certain procedures. So you can get better care. The other thing is, in certain regards, for example, let's say that you had something going on, you needed an MRI. You can pay for a private clinic to get an MRI here if you want. It's still going to be a relatively long list because there's not a lot of private clinics, where if you're, in the US, you might pay more money for that MRI, but the period of time will be shorter, like much shorter. So if you have good insurance and or you have a fair amount of money, private healthcare is going to likely service you better on average in a shorter period of time. But up here, the benefit, the trade-off for that is if something catastrophic happens, the vast majority of the time, you're not going to go personally bankrupt because it happened. And that's kind of your trade-off. And some countries do it better than Canada, for example, obviously, for various reasons, that do also have subsidized healthcare via the government. So, we have a lot that we're working through here, like lots of countries, especially with COVID, where our system is completely fucking run ragged. And Nova Scotia is a great example of this right now. We're going through a shitload of programs to try and up our nurse and doctor count here, for example. But yeah, I would say the trade-off is worth it for me. I'm okay with it, especially since, for the most part, if you still want to pay for something like an MRI, you can. It's just that the wait list is still going to be, even in a private clinic, let's say 3 weeks to a month, instead of you walk in and say, hey, I want an MRI next Tuesday, and they say, okay, we can do it today. It's kind of like the trade-offs. That's my side.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too far from that. I mean, we don't have a perfect healthcare system, but it's close to it. When I say that, you're never going to have a perfect healthcare system. I mean, it's just virtually impossible, right?
Trade-offs for anything.
Yeah, there's going to be trade-offs. I mean, obviously, I can afford healthcare for me and my family. So, if we had private, and I do have a healthcare plan, it only costs me like $250 a month.
Yeah, that's why I've got my own plan as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it covers myself, Kai, and Kayla, and that's usually for prescription, dental, eyeglasses, massages, chiropractor. So we kind of get that money back anyway, as long as we're actively doing those things, which we do. So, we kind of get that money back.
You do 2 massages, you basically, half your fucking healthcare is paid for at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm usually getting 1 massage and a chiropractor at least a month, sometimes 2. So, that kind of pays for itself. As for hospital and stuff, kind of like Adam said, we don't have to worry about somebody breaking their arm or whatever, and whatnot, or if you need an MRI and stuff, like you can go get that done. The shitty thing is the wait, right? So like, you know, if you have an MRI, if you need an MRI, it's usually a long time unless there's an emergency.
It's triaged.
So like, yeah. So like, you know, we've had some things within our family recently where we went to the doctors, and you know, we went to the doctors a few times, and they were like, well, it doesn't seem that serious, so like not really going to put in for an MRI. If it keeps coming, come back and then we'll do it. We did. And then we had to wait about 2 months before we could get the MRI. And then because if it doesn't seem like it's serious, then they'll either just not schedule you on for one period, like that's between you and your personal doctor if you have one, which is also an even bigger problem here is doctors.
In Nova Scotia specifically is a big problem, yeah.
But anyway, we ended up getting the MRI, and everything was fine because they knew, they had a feeling like there was a high percentage that like it's totally fine. But we had to wait 2 months, right?
Which is still short for an MRI, by the way.
Which is short.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, that's actually,
they move you up the triage tree when you came back again is basically what happened.
It was because of a cancellation. That's the only reason why we got in.
Oh, really? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and we jumped on it, right? So
yeah.
So you know, that's the downfall about it. My thing is, and Adam said it, there is private healthcare. You can still pay if you want to get something done sooner. You can. But there isn't a lot of private stuff going on, and it's still a bit of a wait. It's not as long, so you know you can do that, or you can travel to another part of the country.
You're talking weeks instead of months. Usually,
exactly,
is the difference.
Exactly,
yeah.
And in some cases, years. Like
yeah,
sometimes you like if you need a certain surgery and it isn't considered an emergency.
Yeah,
you could be literally waiting years, like legit years. Like when I tore my knee up, I waited a very long time, and if it wasn't for the fact that my next door neighbor was a doctor and he fucking grabbed my health card and did some shit in his house and then called up his buddy and he managed to squeeze me in, I would have been probably waiting another year. And I had already waited a very long time, right? And that's just privilege of, you know, it's just circumstance, right? Not everybody has that opportunity. So it's not the best. Like Adam said, there is, you know, better healthcare systems, but it's one of the best. So, you know, somebody like me that can afford healthcare, it's, you know, if we had private healthcare, fine. But I'd rather spend a little bit more in taxes and have it so that everybody in Canada, that's one thing. I know you guys peg me to be some sort of fucking, you know, capitalism fucking, you know, unethical or fucking, I shouldn't say unethical, but empathetic. That's probably a better word to use. That I don't have empathy for people. I believe that healthcare should be one of the things that every human being should have access to. Period. You know, healthcare,
especially in 2021, we probably should have that figured out.
We're a first world country, for Christ's sake. You know, if somebody breaks their arm or feels a bad pain in their chest for a long time, they shouldn't have to feel like, I don't want to go to the doctors to get this fixed because it's gonna cost me $10,000 and or even $1,000 and cripple, you know, your financial situation. So you know, I'm happy that, like, you know, at least I know some of my tax money is going towards helping people that aren't as fortunate as I am in that department. So, you know, I can't complain about the healthcare system in Canada. Yeah, it's a long wait. Yeah, our hospitals are overran because if somebody's got a tummy ache, they can go to the hospital. You know, in America, if you got a tummy ache, you're probably like, eat some Tums and shut the fuck up because we don't want to, you know, I don't need a $500 checkup, right? So, you know, there's that. And if somebody, God forbid, in your family gets really sick, you know, you can go and get help. They're taken care of.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters, right? You know, because health is the most important thing in your life. And, you know, you can't buy health, right? So,
Just for example, like in terms of like how much of a hurdle this can be for a government, especially for Canada, we got 38 million people here, spread across a lot of land. We got a lot of infrastructure costs that ties up our government quite substantially, federally speaking, as it is. The reason why waits can be long is because we don't have the number of doctors, and it's not that we don't have educated people. In fact, we crank out a shitload of doctors and nurses here. The problem is that they go down to the States because they make 30% more money than they would here and pay less in taxes. Yeah. So. Then that's the challenge, because the government can't, as much as we would like to assume the government can pay as much for a doctor as the doctor makes in a private clinic in the States. That's just never going to fucking happen feasibly. That you can't, because the government's not getting paid the money to be able to float that. There's just no way you can do that. So that's part of the catch-22, is that the government has to find this happy medium to keep nurses and doctors in the country, interprovincially and nationally, against the want of go south of the border and make more money and pay less tax. And so we're in the midst of that here in Nova Scotia, like I said, for example, for programs for nursing and whatnot to try and make that happen. And it's just one of those struggles. Miraculously, thankfully, during COVID, there are hospitals that were already basically, and I'm not talking like Nova Scotia just, like nationally, we were already like teetering. Anywhere you went, it was like if you had one too many people on a drunk weekend.
It's like that in.
It's like that.
We were not the exception.
No, I'm not saying that we were.
Yeah, I mean, there's a goddamn pandemic.
No, the whole
hospital in like the goddamn world is.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that because we are short on average, because we're in a not privatized environment, we don't have the numbers of nurses, for example, that the States do. That was, thankfully we managed to pull that off. And but yeah, so not perfect, but we'll take it. And just like I was going to say, just for example, where M is in the mental health ward, a stay there without MSI, which is like without your health care. If there was a guy that was from out of country that was there that didn't have his MSI card, he was as a student, and he ended up in there for like a month or so, 6 weeks, maybe. And that's like a almost $40,000 bill for this single patient. So it's like healthcare is not cheap for a government to run. So that's why there are trade-offs ultimately. Jorbach, how invasive is the Christmas music where you go so far already? Annoying? ? Seeing how I never go anywhere, I haven't had to experience that yet this year. No retail, no problem.
Yeah, I the only time I ever hear Christmas music is if I'm playing it myself, which I will be, come December, I actually embrace the Christmas music.
December 1st, it's on.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I'll have it up in my speaker system, just around the house, might even rip up the fireplace a little bit, got the Christmas tree on, and listen to the music. I mean, I don't work in retail. I don't leave the house, so I'm not listening to radio and shit like, most folks do. So, I only listen to Christmas music when I want to listen to Christmas music. That's it.
Yeah, I the only place I've been so far since Christmas music would have started to come on was when Em and I went to Chapters the other day, and that was like a fucking bro. If there's one, I hate being in public more now than I ever did before. Like you go into Chapters and it was shoulder to shoulder in that fucking store, and I just didn't even want to be. Not even just for COVID. It's like I've gotten so used to not being around like 300 other people and like shuffling around in public that I was just like, I don't want to be here. Even a little bit, but I'm here because Em wants to be here, so I'll walk around. And there was like this one really enthusiastic employee that, even though they're not making commission, was trying really hard to sell this one poor woman this book. Walked over and was like, saw that she was holding this book. She was like, oh my God, that book is incredible. Let me tell you just how incredible it is. And then went on this like 5-minute fucking dialogue, or monologue, I should say, because she was the only one talking. And told her like half of the story of the fucking book, at which point the woman put the book down and walked the fuck away because she already knew the fucking entire story. And what was worse is this woman was, I swear to God, I did this on stream to like show just how close. It was like the woman was standing there, she has her little book or whatever. Here's the woman's face. All right, here's the woman's face. And then the employee comes over and she's like, oh my God, let me tell you how incredible this book is. She was 3 centimeters from this poor woman's face, just screaming as if she was across the room. It was brutal. But they did have Christmas music on, and that was the only time that I experienced it because I'm never outside the fucking house anymore for that kind of thing. And in fact, the radio hasn't even really been playing a lot of Christmas music yet, but I suspect we're coming up on it. So to really answer the question about the song that we all know you're talking about, I haven't actually heard Mariah Carey's Christmas album yet pop up anywhere.
It'll happen.
Thankfully, but it's gonna happen.
It'll happen.
Shady wrote us a small novel here. Shady asks, being a girl who has had multiple groups of guy friends who game, I've observed a familiar behavior among some men and wanted to ask, excuse me, why do guys bond? Why do guys bond by insulting each other's dick? I've experienced guy friends making some really harsh jokes, and it's often retaliated by jokes about each other's dick, or back in the day it was your mom jokes. I haven't experienced this with my female friends, probably because they don't have penises. So why do you guys bond this way? Is it a masculinity thing, a hierarchy thing? It's something I've learned to fit in. Look, one of the differences between guys and girls, and whether it's like socially engineered and we don't even realize it's happening or not, guys just chirp each other fucking constantly. It's how we show each other love. It's for the same reason why two guy friends could literally beat the fuck out of each other, and the next day they're sitting on the couch watching watching movies, playing games together. Where girls, on the other hand, they hold grudges for years. Something happens. It's not even a physical altercation. It's like somebody said they didn't like your shoes, and motherfucker has got like the grudge on and like the cold stare, cold shoulder for 17 years following. It's something about it's just something that, I don't know, it's just something that dudes do.
Yeah, I think like if most girls, and I mean now we're painting with brushes, all right? So I'm
painting with broad ass brushes.
So you know, there are exceptions, of course. But I think like if you had a girlfriend, like say there's a bunch of girls together and they're all drinking wine, right? And doing what girls do. And
in broad strokes.
You know, and they're chilling doing their thing. If one of those girls go to the other girl and say like, "Man, you're like, you know, your teeth are kind of fucked up." You know what I mean? Or like, you know, yeah, you know, one of them's got big, you know, got some knockers and the other girl doesn't.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, man, you're flatter than, you know, this floor or whatever. Right. Like that's probably not going to come off great. You know, there's probably going to be some tension. And if not, there might be some laughter. But the girl that's getting insulted is probably going to take that shit to heart. And like Adam said, there'll probably be a grudge. You know, when it comes to dudes, you know, a dude can go, bro, you look like fucking shit right now, bro. Like, you need to go shave. You know, hey, Adam, man, you're getting fucking bald as shit. You know what I mean? Like,
just shave it off, bro. Give up the dream.
Exactly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I told Adam, like, bro, you are balding as fuck, man. Just buzz that bitch. And I have in the past. We're not going to get mad at each other, right? You know, Adam be like, dude, Jeff, you're looking haggard, bro. Haggard. That's the word that Adam uses. You're haggard as fuck. Bro, you need to get your hair cut, man. Like, you are looking like a hot piece of shit. I'm not going to be like, you know, damn, man, fuck you, man. I'm going to be like, yeah, you know, fuck.
You're right.
You're right, man. I'm fucking hurting right now. That's what we do, right? Be like, dude, your dick is hella small, bro. You know, it's
facts.
Like, you know, but like, that's what we do. We're guys. We can handle it, right? Like, yeah, it's just different. It's just bro talk, right? Like girl talk might be, I don't know. I'm not part of girl talk. So I don't know. I don't know how girls chirp each other, right? Because I feel like I'm not even sure girls really chirp each other.
It's all passive aggressive shit. You know it's going to be passive aggressive. It's not direct. That's the difference between guys and girls. There are exceptions. There are girls that are super direct and guys that are passive aggressive, but on average, guys are like super direct and to the point, and girls like will dance around that shit and like be passive aggressive about their ways, and then it's all like mental ninja bullshit for girls, and with guys it's just like, yeah. I remember like Jeff. I walked through the door right behind Jeff, like fucking probably early 2019, and RP was just a gong show at that time, and I walked in the room, and. And he was in the same sweater too. His hair was long. He hadn't shaved in like fucking 2 months. Like he turned around, his eyes looked like fucking just dark circled the shit. And there was like spreadsheets behind him. And I was like, bro, what the fuck is going on in here? Is like, motherfucker, you playing RP or you being an accountant? And he tried to explain this thing, and you ever seen that meme where the guy has got like fucking like strings all over the whiteboard trying to describe like the various ways in which something is connected to something else? And I was like, bro, stop. You look haggard as shit. Take a shower and shave. Fucking get off of this mess. It's horrible.
Yeah. My wife told me the other day, man, she literally... So, dude, I can't make this shit up, man. Yesterday, I wasn't even upset about it, man. I just looked at her. She said, man, you're a fuck. She's. I'm paraphrasing, but it ain't too far off. She was like, you need to fucking shave your face. You need to get a haircut. You're fucking hurting. Like you're looking hurting, right? And I was like, man, fuck. What the fuck?
I'm starting to be like, you need to work out.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
you're getting soft. You need to work out.
Kayla already told me. Dude, it got to the point where the other morning she got Kai to come in the room. It's fucking 7:30 in the morning. And Kai came busting in the room. He's like, Daddy. I'm like, ah, right? Because I'm barely fucking sleeping. I wake up at like 6:30 in the morning when Kai wakes up, when Kayla gets up. So she's out there for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. He comes busting in, Daddy. I'm like, what? He's like, it's time to get up. It's time to work out. I'm like, what? It's time to work out. I said, what do you mean work out? The mommy said it's time for me to work out. I'm like, oh, okay. So now I'm getting the messages. Now I'm getting the messages through her, and she's telling you trying to tell me something?
There's a 2-on-1.
It's a 2-on-1, man. But here's the thing. I can handle it because I own it, man. I'm out of shape. I'm haggard. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Not feeling particularly well.
No.
I'm run down. Fuck, man. Like, it is what it is. I'm done. I can't even be bitter anymore. They got a point.
You're just not wrong.
Sometimes you need to hear that shit, man. Sometimes you need to hear that shit. I'd rather hear it than not hear it, right?
So I think that's just the difference. It's just, and I don't know if it's just like when you're really young, like guys are. It's like the classic guy, little boys are told to suck it the fuck up, and little girls are like princess and like coddled or whatever the shit. And then by the time it gets older and older, the girls are supposed to act a certain way, the guys are supposed to act a certain way, and then you get to these kind of situations. I don't know if that's like part of it, or if it's just also maybe a little bit later on. It's the friends that you keep. Which friends group you have. Are you the type of friends that you're chirping each other all the time, or is it like something different? If you played sports, that's going to play a big fucking role in it, because in sports, you're chirping like fucking crazy. You're chirping the other team. You're chirping inside your own team. You're constantly getting like beat up and shit. And honestly, it's good.
Yeah.
Because when you go out in the real world, people aren't going to be kissing your ass all the time.
Gonna beat your ass. Now, with that being said, Shady, just so you know, all right, whether it's Adam, somebody else, friends on the internet, whatever the case may be, it's all about how you deliver the insults and how you're saying things.
It's true.
There's a difference between being a dick and being an asshole and taking a dig at somebody, and then also chirping somebody on a little bit, sometimes there's a bit of reality to it. Like, hey, bro, like there's ways to say things without being a cunt about it, essentially, right?
Yeah. And
a lot of the times, if you're friends with somebody, you're truly friends with somebody, you're able to do those things.
Yeah.
If, for example, if I met somebody for the first time or we've hung out twice,
we're not going to chirp each other.
I'm probably not going to chirp that person the way I would Adam or somebody else that I've known for years. You got to read the room, right? If I'm chirping Adam, like, bro, you got a fucking small dick. Hey,
I'm working on it.
See, Adam can laugh about that stuff, and I know Adam laughs about that stuff. But like, if I told Adam he had a small dick and it say he had a 2-inch penis and like it's like really affecting his life, right? I'm not gonna take that. I'm not gonna fucking go at him for that, right? You know what I mean? Like Adam, Adam's the type of guy that can handle a joke. I can handle the joke. There's things that like Adam will know to fuck with me with and not fuck with me with. So, that's just called friendship. You just know each other. So
yeah,
like,
over time.
So, when guys are chirping each other, it's usually in a friendly banter. There are ways to hurt your friend's feelings. And if you're a good friend, you probably know those pressure points, and you'll know when You avoid them. And if you attack them, then the other person on the other side knows that you're this isn't a joke anymore. Like, they understand that you're being an absolute fucking cunt, and now maybe we are going to fucking fight, or maybe I don't want to talk to you anymore. You know what I mean? Like, there's just lines you just don't cross, right? So with dudes, we know those lines very easily. I think with some girls, not all, because there are a lot of girls that can fucking dish it out and take it. I think some girls, when you joke about certain things, they take it personal, right? They really think about it and they're like, damn.
Or they read further into it. Like they'll see something surface and then they're like, what do you really mean when you say that?
Exactly, right? Yeah. So I think with guys, we just are a little bit more comfortable with doing that shit. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but
we both look haggard today, by the way. We both got to fix our shit.
Yeah.
We're doing bad. If you had to choose between American Thanksgiving or Canadian Thanksgiving, which one do you pick and why? I mean, it's basically the same thing, but I'm going Canadian because it spreads it out a little bit more between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
American Thanksgiving is like on the doorstep of Christmas.
Yeah, 1 month away, you're going to eat turkey and ham and shit again, and all those festivities and shit. Like,
you got to spread that shit out. Nobody needs to see their extended family twice in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Turkey meat, light or dark?
White.
If I'm going gravy, it's white. If I'm not feeling gravy, I go dark meat.
I fucks with that.
Yeah.
I think you're right on that one for me too. Because, dark meat is a lot more juicier.
It's got flavor. It's next to the bone.
It's got flavor as well. White meat can be dry, or a lot drier than, say, the dark meat, because dark meat, you're usually getting like the drumstick or the wing.
Yeah.
The white meat's the thigh. It's you usually want to have a nice gravy or some sort of sauce to like kind of dip that shit in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of with Adam on that.
Last question coming from Volkus. Building off of last week's question, what's the craziest merchandise you guys have had or had suggested to you? And in the confines of Lag TV, I don't think we've had any like really wild ideas for merch. I know that the most hilarious suggestion or craziest suggestion we got was to do a Blu-ray compilation of all of the When Cheese Fails seasons. Like put them all and print them onto Blu-ray and sell Blu-ray copies of these things. And like, I think some people thought that we had super high resolution versions of all of these games laying around in an archive somewhere. No. The answer is no. It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. That's where it's at. And if they remove them, they remove them.
They're gone. So that's probably the craziest one that I've heard.
I mean, the craziest one that I've heard as well. Obviously, I would never do it, but the craziest one I've heard, and it's not. I haven't heard it just from one person. I've heard it from many people over the years. Is my dick mold?
Oh, of course, because
since I told the story before.
Yeah, of course.
People were like, "Hey, can I buy one of them molds from you? Make it a little bit of a merch." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, I ain't doing that. Funny enough,
you got to give him props for having the fucking nuts to ask that question.
Yeah. Funny enough, I was in a sex store there. About a month ago or whatever. Don't ask. But
no Mariah Carey at the time.
No Mariah Carey. But I was in the sex store, right? And they had some of these more mold your own dildos.
It passed through your mind.
Well, not the merch.
No, but just for the sake.
I was gonna. They were expensive. It was like $149.
Oh.
And I was for the jokes. I was gonna buy one.
Oh God.
And then show it on the stream. But I said, you know what? That's
gonna get you banned.
Yeah, that is probably the worst idea. I probably it went through my mind for a second, and I said, nah. I can't do that shit. That's trouble.
That's the thing that you do the day you retire, where getting banned doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna mold it and then show the dildo, but I was gonna get the package and show. I wasn't gonna go that. Yeah, I wasn't gonna. No, I wasn't gonna go get that fucking Yeah, that's a little weird.
You're wilding out on that one.
I mean, maybe if I get desperate and I got to start an OnlyFans page, then yeah, maybe you guys can get your mold your own dildos then, and we can kind of go from there.
I'd do it, but $140 for a 2-inch tall dick mold is just not in the market these days.
Yeah, you're not going to please anybody with that.
No,
it's not going to please anybody. I mean, so funny enough, when I was in the store, so man, dude. I'm just gonna. I don't care. I let everybody fucking know.
Okay.
I really don't give a fuck. I really don't care.
All right.
I'm getting older now. I just don't give a fuck anymore.
Okay.
I've been at the sex store a couple times.
Okay.
And over the summer.
Okay. That's not that salacious, but all right.
It's not. But here's the thing, man. I hadn't stepped foot in one of these stores since I was like probably 22, 23. Right. So it's COVID season. I'm like, man, let me go into this bitch and let me see what kind of like shit I can get. Like,
some new age sex tools.
Let's spice some shit up. Let me go up into this bitch. So I'm in this store. This is the first trip of the two. And man, my fucksometer. I remember the first time I went into one of these stores, man, I was embarrassed. I was like, oh man, fuck. Like I don't want to be in here. And the people that work at the place, they come up and they're like, hey, can I help you find anything?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And they're nice, they're friendly, they're in there all the time, they don't care, they're not judging. But like in the back of your mind, you're thinking like, oh man, like, they're gonna know whatever. And and they're very nice, like they don't assume anything. So like, the girl asked me like, hey, they always say like you and your partner. And they're like, okay, so like, is it he, she, both? What, they'll like kind of ask you these questions, like trying to help you out, like with the things you're trying to find. So anyway, I'm talking to this girl and I tell her sort of the stuff I'm looking for, right? And I won't get too detailed because you guys don't need to know about the shit I'm buying. But I go in there and I start saying, hey, this, and I don't give a fuck. Like I went in there and you're already kind of anonymous because you got a mask on and shit now. So like half your face is kind of covered and shit. But, so anyway, I'm sitting in there and they take me over to this area and they start showing me these things. Right. And then there's a couple in there and they're over in another section where all this bondage and stuff is. And this guy, this dude, man, he was getting worked up inside the shop. So like he was like
getting all hot and bothered in the shop.
He was getting hot and bothered in the shop. So his girl is like looking at the stuff and she's like, hey, do you like this and like that? And I'm kind of like, I got this girl beside me that works there that's like yapping in my face and showing me these different things. And I'm trying to like, I'm eavesdropping this conversation over here, right? And I'm like, okay, I got it. I'll take a look. So she goes off and I'm like listening. And shit was getting fucking weird, bro. This girl was like, yeah, she's I don't even know how much of this I'm allowed to fucking say on Twitch. But I'll say this sort of the PG thing. She's like, yeah, if I get this and I stick this in my mouth and it's got this thing, and he's like, yeah. And then he starts caressing her leg and stuff. Like he starts caressing his leg and he's like, yeah, I got 2x4s in the backyard. And I'm thinking to myself,
2x4s?
It's the most random shit ever. He's like, I got 2x4s in the backyard. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, what the fucking shit. And these two are like, they're not, I'm just gonna say it. They're
not young.
No, they were youngish. They were like probably in their early 30s, late 20s.
Okay, all right.
But they were off. Like way they're dressed, way they're talking. Like there was they were off. They were just out there.
Well, I mean, they were getting hot and heavy inside of the store in public, so I mean, you're already
they were out there, right? And it started getting weird, man. Like the dude was getting worked up and they started anyway. I don't want to say
ball gags and 2x4s is a pretty good start.
So anyway, I'm looking around and then all of a sudden the phone rings, right? And the girl on the counter is like, hello. And she's quiet there for a second, and she's like, "Okay." She's like, "Yeah, I got 2 in stock, right?" And she's like, "Okay." And then she pulls out a list, and she starts writing down, and she's talking on the phone. She's like, "Okay, yeah. I think I got those. I got that. Yeah, I got that. Got that. And then she hangs up the phone and she starts laughing. And now I'm kind of like I'm like inserting
intrigued.
myself. I'm inserting myself into the conversation, right? I'm like, and I say, wow, that's quite the list. And she's laughing, right? And she's like, yeah. And she tells her employee to come, or her coworker to come over, and coworker comes over, and the coworker's like, whoa, what's going on here? She's like, yeah, talked about an Asian guy, an Asian dude, and it was the year of the dragon or something. And every year he has this crazy sex party or whatever, and these are the list of things he needs, and he's going to come over in about an hour and pick it up. So they start going over and picking up the stuff, and the first thing on the list was a 12-inch dildo that had fucking veins like big. I mean, this thing was fucking.
It's the All-American Challenge, Jeff.
Bro, I'm telling you,
it's the All-American Challenge dildo. Man,
bro, I'm telling you, I've never seen a dildo this big in my life. It's not a dildo, bro. It was a club. It was like a fucking it was about as thick as my neck. I shit you not. With veins. Thick ass veins that just ran down the bitch. White as fuck, vanilla ass dildo, big ass fucking 12-inch donger. I'm like, "Oh my god. What the actual fuck?" And then they started going through, they started picking up more stuff. And it was like a shopping cart full of shit. So anyway, I end up leaving, and I go back to the shop like weeks later, and I'm back in the shop, and the same girl's there. So I had to bring it up.
Of course.
And I said, hey, the last time I was here, you had this big, this big list, and we were all laughing, like we were laughing at this big ass dildo, and it's supposed to be this like This Asian guy. His name was Dave. I'm like, what the fuck? Right? I'm like, what?
Dave, the Asian guy.
I thought for sure, and they thought as well for sure that it was a prank call. She's like, we get prank calls all the time. People calling, just trying to be funny, asking this, and this because of the sex store.
Yeah.
And she said 5 minutes before they closed, Dave comes in, right? He comes in. She said it was a small, short, little Asian guy. He comes in. He's like, you got the deal. He's like, you got the big guy. She's like, yeah, we got it. Bought all the stuff. It was over $1,000. She said his order was over $1,000.
Holy shit!
It was over $1,000, and he was nothing but smiles, and he bought it out. She's like, I thought for sure it was fake. And there's a lot more to it, but I don't know what I can say and what I can't say on Twitch.
Oh my Lord.
But it was an interesting couple trips into the sex store, to say the least. The couple, man, when they went, I wasn't there long enough to see what they bought, if anything, but they were ready.
It sounded like they went to Home Depot after.
They might have. See, I had 2x4s in the back. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that is the most random shit I've ever heard in my life, dude. He's like caressing her leg. He's like, yeah, and I got 2x4s in the backyard.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
It's getting real. Dave got real. Dave, the Asian guy.
Oh my god! And then Dave showed up and bought a baseball bat.
Bought a baseball bat. Bought a club. The shit was thicker than baseball bat.
Holy shit!
Yeah, man. So anyway, that was
sounds like there's some entertainment to be had just going into the store and walking around and just listening to the background conversations.
It's good, man.
Of what's happening in there.
I highly suggest, Adam. I highly suggest that you go into a sex shop with your lady. All right, and this is what you do. Okay.
Okay.
This is what you do.
Okay.
All right. This goes out to all guys out there.
Okay.
All right. If in the back of your mind you're thinking, I'm looking for more. I want some spice. Because no matter what, when you're with somebody for a long ass time, the shit just becomes repetitive. It comes and goes. It's like it's peaks and valleys, right? I've been married for a long time. I've been with Kayla. She's the only person I've been with in the last 12 years, right? Same vagina. She's had the same penis, right? There's only so much, once in a while, every I don't know, every few years or whatever. You need to spice things up. You need to just try out something different. So this is what I suggest. I think, Adam, you should do it. Okay? In fact, I encourage it. And I think everybody here on Technical Alpha demands this. Not only that, for the stories as well.
This is
okay. Because you've already fucked over Tinder files for us. You can at least redeem yourself in some way, shape, or form for us.
Okay.
This is what you do. You take your girlfriend to the sex stop, to the sex store, and you ask her. If there's anything here you're interested in, anything here you like. And I'm telling you, what the girls will do is, maybe in the start, they might be a little, depending on where your relationship is, right? Because
have you taken Kayla into this sex shop yet?
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't personally, but Kayla will tell me, right? That's the difference, right? Kayla, I went there on a mission. You know what I'm saying? Like we can kind of like say like, hey, we're kind of open like that. We've been together for a long time. But like, if you don't have that type of relationship where it's like, you might be having some sex, things are okay, they're fine, but you want to spice things up, take her in there, and she'll lead you, and you'll see what's really on her mind. You'll see the things that are manifesting in her mind. Sometimes you just need to open that door, let her go in. You know what I'm saying? Let her choose.
She was breathing a little bit heavier when we were walking around the Home Depot in the lumber section. So you never know. It's possible. It's possible.
Or she'll be embarrassed and backfire horribly. I don't think so. Because listen, if you don't just drive to the store and walk in there, right? You can't just you can't throw them. You can't just do that, right? You can't like blindfold them. We're going to somewhere special, and then like take off the blindfold and it's like, ta-da! Buy some toys. You got to have this conversation like, hey, have you ever been in one of these stores? You want to go and see what they got? Maybe there's something that we'd be interested in trying out. If they're receptive, take them in there, and they're gonna tell you about their fantasies, whether it's clothes, toys, fucking whatever. They're gonna tell. And they got something cool in there that I was gonna buy. Next time I go in there, I'm gonna buy it.
Okay.
You know what, Adam? I'll do it if you do it.
It's probably not going to happen.
Okay, but hey,
and for no other reason than M is like super vanilla, and she doesn't need anything else to.
All right, how about this?
Okay.
How about this?
We're really bent on this. Okay.
All right, Christmas time. All right.
Okay.
I'll do it if you do it. Okay. In these stores. Okay.
Okay.
They've got surprise bags. They're $50.
$50 surprise. Okay.
They're fairly sized big bags.
Okay.
Okay. Uh-huh. And inside, they've got little different toys and little different things. It's a mystery bag. You don't know what you're going to get. You just don't know what you're going to get. I was intrigued. I even tried to peek inside. Couldn't see nothing. It was well shut, kept.
One thing we know isn't in there. It's the 2.5 foot long, 5-inch.
It's definitely
wide dildo.
That's it. It wouldn't fit. Hey, if you do it, I'm gonna do it. Get the mystery bag.
Can you imagine me going in there and buying a mystery bag in the sex shop, bringing that home here, and trying to keep that under wraps in Jan Morehouse's house?
Yeah, it's probably not gonna fly.
And then we're on stream, and I'm pulling out random sex toys. Can you imagine how awkward that conversation's going to be afterwards?
That'll be weird.
It was just for the podcast. It was, it's just for the podcast. It was for the entertainment.
All right, when you guys move out,
okay,
all right, and you get your own damn crib, then it's happening.
Okay, that's much more likely to get to the grab bag. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it through. I didn't think it through.
Dan would have a giggle. Mom.
Yeah, you're in the house of Christ.
Yes,
all right?
That's a bad idea.
You ain't bringing them toys of the devil in that bitch. It ain't happening.
Whips mean something different around here.
Yeah, they do.
And on
that note,
that's the end of Technical Alpha, ladies and gentlemen.
This is gonna be there better be 2x4 in the title. There better be a 2x4 in the damn title, Adam. There better be.
Maybe I'll call it Home Improvement.
There you go. That worked.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's another Tech Alpha podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed yourselves. Stay safe out there. We'll be back next week with another banger. No pun intended. And until then, once again, stay safe. Buy your sex toys equally as safe, and you'll never look at 2x4s the same. Peace!
Peace!